things I want to tell you. The problem with every tour that I want to take you in a chronological order, but then we come across this, and this just breaks my theory, because this is from the Iron Age, and it's not connected to the story that I want to tell you now. So I want you to imagine that this world doesn't exist yet. If you really want to imagine what's behind it, please look over there onto the right, and you see the ramparts. Can you see the earth ramparts just above that little wall over there? That what was here in the Middle Bronze Age, the 18th century BC. And why am I going back to the 18th century BC? I'm going because that was the time of Abraham. And Abraham, our forefather, funny enough, for all the religions, the Abrahamic religions, there's a lot of stories about Abraham. We just heard one about in Marat HaMachpelah when he goes thanking for David, going to bury his wife in Marat HaMachpelah. But one of the stories about Abraham is connected to his nephew Lot. And it is said in Genesis 14, okay? I'm not going to read it from the text, I'm just one sentence from the text. But in Genesis 14, it is said that there's a big war, okay, between the kings that come from Mesopotamia. They want servants, they want money, they come to loot this area, and they would go to the area of the Dead Sea. Now you ask yourselves, what can you loot in the Dead Sea? Bitumen, other things. There's things you can, okay? There's things that you can, don't worry. And there's people live, you could always take slaves wherever you go. And they go to fight there. And when they are there, there's one guy that's connected to our story. There's a lot of people there. But one guy that's connected to our story is Lot. Lot is the nephew of Abraham, and he's taken in captivity, okay, by those kings of Mesopotamia. And when those kings of Mesopotamia go back home, and you most probably heard the word Via Maris.
Yes.
So Via Maris goes through here, the road of the sea. If I'll have the time, I'll explain exactly how it looks like when we sit down in the shade in a few more stops. Okay? So Via Maris, the road of the sea, goes right through here. Okay? And those kings will go up, and from here up to Damascus, and from Damascus up to Mesopotamia. Now it says in the verse in the Bible, and it's very easy to remember, Genesis 14:14, it says that he hears, okay, that his nephew Lot was captured, and then he takes 318, okay, numbering 318 of his, let's say, servants and friends, and he went to pursuit as far as Dan. And this is the first biblical mentioning of the city of Dan. Okay? So Abram comes until Dan. When you say as far as Dan, what does it mean? Why do you stop here?
This is the
Why do you
border.
get, this is the border? Okay, interesting. So later on in the Bible, when they'll talk about the kingdom of Israel, the United Kingdom of Israel, it will be from Dan to Beersheba. Okay? This is the, I would say, the border, the northern border, okay, of this area. And interesting, and it says that Abraham came until Dan, and then the next verse says that in the middle of the night, he gets up and he runs after those kings towards Damascus. He captures back all the servants and his nephew, and he wins the war. So what we know of Dan is that Abraham went. Dan should be close to Damascus, because if in the middle of the night he's in Damascus, it means that it's close. So this is a historical, geographical resource that I have. Where is this Dan? Where should we look for this city of Dan? Somewhere up in the north, next to Damascus. Okay? And what I can say is that if there is a place that Abraham was at, is in Dan. He came here, and then in the middle of the night, he goes up to Damascus. Okay? So what I know is three things. First of all, Dan is somewhere next to Damascus, up in the northern parts. Second of all, that Abram visited this city. Okay? And third of all, that he went out from this city towards Damascus in the middle of the night. Okay? Three issues. Moving onwards. From the 60s, there's an archaeologist whose name is Avraham Biran, very easy to remember, Abraham and Abraham. Avraham Biran from the Hebrew Union College in Jerusalem. You'll go and see it. And he was digging here for almost 30 years, so from the 60s up to the 90s. And Avraham Biran knew that the ramparts are built, you remember, with a stone, we'll go with a stone, spine, thank you, with a stone spine, okay, and then you have earth ramparts on both sides. So he said, let's check if that's true. He went to the northern parts of the city. He dug in. What did he find? Stone spine. No problem. He went to the western side. Dug in. What did he find? Stone spine. He went to the southern part. He dug in. What did he find? Great. It works. There's a theory. And you prove the theory. And then he had a problem. He decided to dig up an eastern side of the ramparts. And he goes down. And he doesn't find the stone spine. But what he does find is the following. These are mud bricks. And he finds another layer. And another layer. And another layer. And another layer. And there's a whole building here made of brick or mud bricks. And he says in his report, I found a tower made of mud bricks of the city of Dan. In the next season, he comes along and says, okay, let's continue on the site. And he finds out that there's another mud brick here, and another one here, another one here, another one here, and another one here, and another one here. Oh, that's nice. And it continues. It's quite a long tower. But when he digs up this area, no bricks. But it's blocked, meaning there's earth in here, but it's not mud bricks. Now what he does see is that this is not like I did it. It's in the form of an arch. Second, mud arch. When he looks at the bricks, he could say at the end of the day, because of pottery that was inside, this is from the 18th century BC. It's an arch from the 18th century BC. I know you're all cynical. I know it doesn't mean anything to you guys. But until he found this, they thought that builded arches came to the land of Israel only in the Roman period. Reminding you, that's roughly 200 years, 2,000 years down the line. Meaning he just proved that there were arches in the land of Israel, and he moved the date almost 2,000 years backwards. Now when he looks at this, he says, okay, an arch. Why would you need an arch? Only if there's something beneath it.
Yes.
Okay, so there's nothing in there, but what should have been there is a gate. So he said to himself, I found the gate of Dan. When he checks up his gate and then he continues and he finds another tower on this side from mud bricks. So he has a tower on one side, a tower on the other side, and then an arch in between, and underneath would be the gate of the city of Tel Dan from 18th century BC. Now he says to himself, wow. Why wow? First of all, the gate is facing the east. Reminding you from here to the east, where do you go to? What's the next level? You can say the Golan. Nobody cares about the Golan. What's the... Thank you, Damascus. He says to himself a second. Abraham was here at the 18th century. I just found a gate from the 18th century. And I know that Abraham left Dan to go to Damascus. So now I'm doing a whole theory. Okay? If Abraham was here, and if he left the city of Dan, he had to do it through the eastern gate. Okay? Is that okay with all of you?
Yeah.
Now, most of you are very cynical. Bring a Protestant, tell him the following. These stones were the stones that Abraham walked on when he left the city of Dan to go and recapture his nephew Lot. You have a third of a heaven. He's in seventh heaven. He doesn't care about the water. He cares about one thing only. and that is to see the Old and New Testament, Bible, whatever it is, Christian or Jewish, in the geographical point that it was. And you won your whole trip by that. They would come here just for that. Nobody goes up the hill to see the spring, to see the nice water, to see the fig trees, to see the plane trees. They would only come to see what? The gate that Abraham passed through. And now I'm going to tell you a little secret. I was really bad to you guys. I took you on the long trip because I thought it was just nice and we will enjoy it. But if you would have taken right, and again it's not a political view, if you would have taken right at the first junction we took, and then right again at the second junction, it'll be right here, okay? So if you continue straight down here, going right and right, you'll be back at the parking lot. So what I wanted to say a second is that most groups will do that, the short way through. But I wanted you to get some more and enjoy our trip, and not only to do the 2 seconds. Now, what we are going to do is the following. We are going to go there to the gate. One problem, in the sun, very hot. I'm going to explain 2 minutes. We're going to go up the hill, okay? Again, we're going to go on the ramparts again and go to another place, sit down in the shade and have a little talk about what we saw in the gate and about other nice things that we can see here in Tel Dan. Let's go.
Very interesting story.